Today, the day that you're watching this, marks my 10-year anniversary as a YouTuber and a content creator. On March 31st, 2013, I created what is now known as the Apple Attack YouTube channel. As a kid, I loved to make videos and just record whatever I was doing on any given day. One day, I decided that I was going to finally make the jump to posting it. This ignited my passion for becoming a video editor and making technology-related content. My first ever iPhone was an iPhone 5, and taking a look back at the beginnings of my channel was an idea that captured my attention as I went back and forth about what I wanted this video to be. So that's what I did. I got on eBay and I looked to recapture that feeling of wonder that I had a decade ago. I looked for a listing that closely resembled my old phone that I had 10 years ago. I found one, ordered it, and a few days later, it was here. Luckily for me, my setup from back in the day could be recreated, as it was all on video. So let's take a time machine back to 2013 when I started my YouTube channel. Things have changed a lot in the last 10 years. Not just for me, but for technology. We have phones with crazy camera quality, computers that can fit in our pockets, and social media that has become a staple in our everyday lives. The advancements we've seen in technology are mind-boggling, and it's crazy to think how far we've come. Technology has the power to shape our world in ways we never thought possible. With the emergence of AI like ChatGPT, it's interesting to take a look back at what life was like a decade ago and see if it still holds up today. This is my iPhone 5 setup 10 years later on March 31st, 2023. The memories I have with this phone will continue to stay with me as long as I do YouTube, as it inspired me to want to continue to create. The following apps were apps that I had personal memories with and were extremely popular at the time. This app was amazing, as it allowed you to take a full 360-degree panoramic photo hands-free, as it rotated the device around using its vibration motors. All you had to do is simply stand the device on its charger, tap the button in the center, and then the app will do its thing. And this was an amazing app that everyone had to try at least once. This app was also created in the infancy of Apple's built-in panoramic mode in the camera app, so the idea of stitching pictures together in this way felt like magic. Because this faded into obscurity, most of you guys probably don't even remember this app, but it was a big deal at the time. The developers of this app even went on Shark Tank to pitch their idea. Ultimately though, this proved no longer profitable as the developers decided to remove it from the App Store and pivot towards a different venture. This app in a lot of ways is what got me started on YouTube. With the Capture app, YouTube allowed you to quickly record a few clips, edit it together, and upload it straight from one app on your phone. The ease of use and integration made this a must-use for any beginner to the YouTube creator scene at the time. Nowadays though, the YouTube app has this built in, so Google pulled the YouTube Capture app from the App Store since you can just do it from the YouTube app now. The Xbox Smart Glass app was an app developed by Microsoft for the Xbox 360 and Xbox One that allowed users to control their gaming experience from their smartphones or tablets. This app was later discontinued by Microsoft in favor of the new and improved Xbox app. This was a running simulator app that topped the charts in 2012, and it was an instant hit among gamers of all ages. It had a simple yet addictive gameplay that allowed players to control the character running on subway tracks while dodging obstacles and collecting coins. Overall, Subway Surfers was awesome and addicting because of its simple yet engaging gameplay, making it a memorable game which some even still play today. This game is a game I have a ton of memories with. This game features a character who must navigate through an underground lab while avoiding obstacles and collecting coins. This game was released on September 1st, 2011, and unlike some of the apps we took a look at, this app is still available for download. What made Jetpack Joyride so awesome for its time was its addictively fun gameplay. Something else that was addictively fun was Temple Run 2. After the first game dominated the App Store charts, the developers released Temple Run 2. These running simulators proved to be popular in the early 2010s, as these games were addicting and fun. If you had time to kill, you found yourself on this game competing with your friends for the high score. This was TikTok before there was TikTok. Creators Russ, Dom, and Colin set out to make a platform for short-form, quick 6-second videos. Many popular YouTubers such as Jake and Logan Paul got their big break from making videos on Vine. And just like TikTok, Vine dominated the pop culture space in 2013, and there was no way you could go anywhere without people talking about it. Seriously, If you were a kid in 2013, all of your friends would be quoting Vines constantly. Vine was eventually bought by Twitter and shuttered in 2016, so showcasing it here on video is a little bit complicated as the application is no longer available in the App Store and the servers are no longer online. However, much of what Vine was known for lives on in social media today, with other popular platforms deciding to take on the short-form content space. This game took the world by storm. For those that don't know, Flappy Bird was an addicting, rage-inducing time waster that people hated to love and loved to hate. For those that don't know how the game plays, it's pretty simple. There was a bird who was avoiding flying into pipes, and you had to tap the screen to direct the bird's flight. However, this was easier said than done, and sometimes this game would decide that it didn't want you to succeed in this mission. People would compete with their friends to get a high score and post it to Facebook, Instagram, and other social media. So, you could see why this game garnered so much popularity at the time. I have fond memories of this game, and it's not hard to see why. In its time on the App Store, it generated 50 million downloads. That was fairly impressive in 2013. This game was published on the iOS App Store and Google Play Store on May 24th, 2013. However, on February 10th, 2014, the creator took the game down, citing fan backlash about the game, since he felt responsible for the game being too addicting. This led to people pouring into eBay to get the chance to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars to get an iPhone or an iPad that still had the game downloaded. Even now, almost 10 years after the creator took the original game down, people are still trying to get their hands on an original iPhone that has this game installed. The impact this game had on society as a whole, looking back, is pretty crazy. In making this video, I realized that some apps just straight up don't work anymore. This version of Subway Surfers is no longer supported, and this version of Twitter is no longer supported. Same with YouTube. The versions of these apps that are compatible to run on certain iOS versions are just completely broken now. The reason for this, unfortunately, is that in September 2017, when iOS 11 was released, a lot of apps were removed from the App Store because Apple made significant changes to the way that apps were built. iOS 11 dropped support for 32-bit apps, meaning that any apps that were built with 64-bit architecture were no longer compatible with any future iOS versions. Because of this, a lot of the older apps were either removed from the App Store or no longer work, and it's a shame because Apple made showing off some of these applications hard to do on video. Not only did iOS 6 and 7 have awesome apps, they also had awesome jailbreak tweaks. Here are some of my favorites. Android Lock XT is something I remember using a lot. That's the Pac-Man theme. Here is just other random themes. Basically, it brings the Android unlock to iOS. It was really cool with the Pac-Man interface though. 10 years ago, Barrel was a must-have tweak. This brings page-to-page animations when you scroll on your device. A free alternative named Cylinder would be developed later on, but this was the one that did it first. SB Settings is an all-time classic tweak, and it brings with it quick toggles for various different things. Bluetooth, brightness, Wi-Fi, respring, power on and off, this could do it all. This tweak likely gave Apple some inspiration for what would later be the Control Center. This tweak gave you barrel-like animations for pulling down your notification center. This one, for whatever reason, only supported up until, I think, iOS 6, and the developer just straight up disappeared one day. This is a really cool tweak, which I wish would have gotten a lot more love, maybe would have gotten some future updates and would have worked in newer iOS versions, but still really cool and one that I remember using back in the day and loving. Zeppelin themes the carrier icons or the carrier text in your status bar, and it looks awesome. You could download different add-ons in Cydia and have more icons to choose from. You could also just change the text so you could see I made it say Apple Attack. Really awesome tweak, and it was the first to ever do it. Well, this one's pretty self-explanatory. Harlem Shake was a tweak that allowed users to assign an activator gesture to trigger a full screen animation of the Harlem Shake dance. At the time, the Harlem Shake was an internet dance that was quickly gaining popularity. This tweak took the jailbreak community by storm in 2013 and became one of the most popular tweaks of all time. As you can see, the Harlem Shake animation was nothing short of epic. It mimicked the popular dance with your home screen icons, making the icons twirl and dance around, causing all kinds of chaos on the device. This tweak was so cool visually that it became a big thing to show off the power of jailbreaking and what it could do. It may seem like a simple, silly tweak, but it had a profound impact on the jailbreak community at the time and remains a beloved part of jailbreak history to this day. Now, while I wasn't personally using this tweak during the iOS 6 cycle, I have to talk about aux 01. aux 01 was the beginning of something awesome. The iOS 6 app switcher didn't have live previews of apps, and this basically brought previews to the app switcher. This was before Apple even did it. Flux was a tweak that allowed you to adjust the color temperature on your iOS device, so that way the blue light wasn't as harsh as it was normally in iOS. You could have different preferences for during the day or at night. This feature was introduced years later with Apple's night shift in iOS and macOS, but this at the time was a great tweak. Zephyr was an iconic jailbreak tweak which allowed you to switch between multiple apps and perform various actions using simple gestures, which made multitasking a breeze. With Zephyr, you could swipe left or right to switch between apps, or you could simply swipe up from the bottom of the screen to close out of an app, and then swipe up again to switch to the app switcher. This tweak was so intuitive and seamless that it quickly became a fan favorite amongst jailbreak users. In fact, it's pretty likely that Zephyr was the inspiration behind the multitasking gestures introduced on the iPhone X. When I first saw this tweak, it completely blew me away. Graviboard is a tweak that allows you to add gravity to your home screen. What does this mean? Well, it means that you can now tilt your device and watch your icons fall to the bottom of the screen. And this is complete and utter chaos, but it looks awesome, and this is just one of those tweaks that you have to try out. This was definitely a really cool and fun tweak to just show your friends and amaze them just at the sheer power of what jailbreaking can do. This tweak revolutionized the way we interact with our iPhones and made multitasking a breeze. Here's what made aux 02 so awesome. Apple's native app switcher has always been pretty basic, but aux 02 took it to the next level. aux 02 allowed you to close all apps at once with just one tap. This tweak combined the control center and the app switcher, and it looks awesome. And also the quick switcher, arguably probably one of my favorite features of this tweak. From the left corner of the device, all you had to do is just swipe from left to right, and you could quickly just go in and out of any app. This was sort of like Zephyr, but a little bit different, and it was also just really cool. iFile was a file manager for iOS that later got replaced by FileZilla. Springtomize is a classic that everyone needed to install, and Springtomize 3 was something that I loved using. You could customize everything from lock screen and home screen animations to hiding applications, resizing them, just basically doing a ridiculous amount of things. This was an all-in-one tweak that was awesome. Apex 2 was a popular tweak that allowed users to group multiple app icons together into a single icon on their home screen. By simply swiping up on the icon, users could access a folder-like view for all of the apps that they had grouped together, making it easier to organize and access frequently used apps. Made by the creator of Cydia himself, Winterboard was a great theming engine that allowed you to customize your app icons. Nowadays, there's things like Snowboard that exist, but this was the very first of its kind. And I gotta say, this I have an incredible amount of nostalgia for. Especially this theme too, called Iris, which was really popular at the time. Another amazing tweak was Activator. This was a must install as well. This is kind of what Siri shortcuts turned into. You can set up multiple actions based on button presses or button combinations or anything of that sort, and this was extremely powerful. TinyBar minimized the size of incoming notification banners, making them less intrusive and easier to dismiss. Instead of taking up the entire screen, TinyBar displayed notifications as a small, unobtrusive bar at the top of the screen, allowing users to continue using their device without interruption. For some reason, even though this isn't a subscriber milestone, this video felt really important, and that's because it is. Getting to relive what my life was like a decade ago was an awesome experience. Seeing some of these tweaks and apps hands-on for the first time in years reminded me of where I started, just a kid making videos I was passionate about. 10 years later, and it's hard to believe that I'm still doing this YouTube thing. I appreciate all the love and support you all have given me over the years. This video gave me the chance to look back and reflect. And while my channel may have started out as a side hobby, it has become an important part of my life. As I look forward towards the future, I'm excited to see where this journey will take me. Thank you for being a part of my 10-year journey, and here's to many more years of growth, learning, and new adventures together. Thanks everyone so much for watching. Have a good one, guys. Peace.